and he brings a lot to the table. I mean, this is it's a winner. I mean, he's been a head coach for a long time, and he certainly brings that perspective to the room. He's a defensive guy, and I think, and then he knows Tom. They had a little bit of a chemistry already, so just a good resource that's available that you didn't anticipate. So it was all positive and a great opportunity, great family, and glad to have him on board.
On the cap, you said there's supposed to be transparency and consequences. Do you have faith that that's actually going to
I do, because I think that the commissioners and presidents, and they put all that stuff together. They've spent a bunch of money to create to create this entity. I mean, I think we got to give it a chance. So I'm optimistic, because I think there's been a lot of work that's been put into, again, putting an infrastructure in place, but now it's got to fill in, and you got to give it some time. But we're not there yet. And again, with some of the money that was front loaded, and the cap's going to be a little bigger for some people this year, but it'll all settle out. But the reality of it is with the settlement is, regardless, if you might have a $300 million budget, but you got $17 million that you can spend on football, or you can divide. You can spend the whole 20 if you don't want to give anybody else anything. Whatever it is, that goes up 4%, and there's a 10-year deal, and there's a lot that went into this settlement. It's not like it just one person made a decision. This is a lot of people been involved for a long time, and so I've got faith that. And again, we just haven't dealt with a lot of the complete chaos. I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, we've had about a 3 here. But we're blessed simply because of the continuity that we've had, and the culture and the structure and just kind of how we go about doing things. But everybody's been affected, and everybody, I think, is hopeful that we'll have a little bit more order in it. Because at the end of the day, I think we've got to educate young people, and I think the number one way to do that is to try to have a little bit better landscape that's conducive to that.
Coach Spiller talked earlier about just creating a brotherhood and having a brotherhood be made out of this running back room. What do you expect, and what do you want to see out of the running back room now with the departure of Phil Maffa, and then just kind of these new guys stepping into this role?
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's fun. You got, we've had a couple of dudes around here for a while, and Shipley and Maffa, and those guys are off doing their thing now. And I was just talking with KJ the other day. I think Shipley's had a great off season and a great mini camp and all that, and he's up there doing his Shipley thing, competing his butt off. And I can't wait to see Maffa do his thing. He's going to be a really good pro. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But those have been the workhorses around here for the last few years. So it's just kind of a new era, if you will. And there's always, anytime there's a little bit new, everybody's like, well, you don't know much about anybody. And a lot of times we forget that we got some highly recruited dudes in here, some very high accolade guys that have done a lot of things that we just kind of forget about. They just hadn't really had their opportunity yet. So Adam is the wild card. I mean, he's the one senior in the room, and that's Adam. I mean, this is I think, and again, y'all know I'm not always right, but sometimes I am. I really think he'll be one of the great college football stories this year. I really believe that. I really believe in Adam Randall. I love this kid. You talk about committed, loves Clemson, and has really bought into this role. I think he's reshaping his career, and I think he's going to be a lot of fun to coach. You just pray and hope he can stay healthy, because I think if he does, I think he's, you're going to see a lot of what we see. He's a very natural guy. It's been a natural transition. You saw what he did in the playoff, and he had like 3 days of practice. But he played a lot of running back growing up. He played mostly running back and quarterback. So it's not something that's foreign to him, but he's really transitioned well. And I'm proud of him. But he's a senior. He's the leader. He's dynamic. I mean, you can do a lot with him. I think he checks a lot of boxes for us. But he's got to go do it. If I'm on y'all side of things, you're over going, oh, yeah, you're moving a wide out to running back. You people are crazy, whatever. we'll see. But I believe in him, and I think everybody on this staff does. And I think he's going to be a lot of fun. I think he's going to be a great college football story, and pulling for him. And hope he can stay healthy, because I think if he does, he'll do the rest. And then you got a junior in Keith Adams who, y'all have heard me talk about him many times. He just runs mean, runs angry. He's not as big. He's not a big, tall guy or anything like that. He's not a burner, but you're going to feel Keith Adams. And, he's a guy that I think brings a little something different to the group. And you got two sophomores that are unproven in everybody's eyes, and that's in Jay Haynes and Jarvis Green. These are two highly accomplished high school football players that have both made plays at the collegiate level. Now, they've had to deal with Shipley and Maffa, but now it's kind of their time. That's why you recruit these guys. This is their time. And we'll find out if we were right or we were wrong. But that's why we recruited them. That's why they're here. And it's time to play. Jarvis made a big play in the playoff game, and Jay Haynes was, if you really study Jay Haynes, he's pretty freaking productive with his opportunity. He was a very productive player as a redshirt freshman. So those are your two sophomores, and obviously Jay's coming off his injury, and we'll see as he goes. But and then you got two freshmen. Eazy-E is I think if he hadn't got hurt probably senior year, he was a highly recruited guy, high-ranked guy. And I think Wayne Gallman, when I talk about Eazy-E, just because he might be a little faster than Gallman, maybe a little bigger, but violent like Wayne Gallman. Violent runner, powerful runner. And then Gid, I thought, was the best back in the country last year. He just got here. So, we're all gonna find out. And we got a really good group of guys, and they got to go compete. But these are competitive dudes that are all at kind of different phases of their journey, and we'll see how it all shakes out. Should be a lot of fun, but we really are confident in our guys in our room.
What's your expectation for someone like Tristan Smith, who really did himself really benefit from the strong spin?
Yeah, we went in the spring with 5 dudes. We came out with 6. So he earned that. He earned that this spring. We got 6 dudes that I think can play for anybody. They can all start. They can play for anybody. We have 6 dudes, and it's been a while since we've had, that type of not just depth, but really they're all experienced. They've all made plays. They're confident. They're a good, selfless group, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So he went from being a guy that we hoped to jumping right into that group. I put him right in. He can compete with all them guys. So he's had a great summer. He's a great kid. Really glad he's here. Really glad we got him. And especially you play it's a long season. It's competitive, and to know you got that type of depth is really good. And then you got a 7th guy in Tink who will be defense but cross train over on offense. So you feel good about that. Obviously Adam Randall, he's a guy that's always kind of there. He can do a lot of things. Obviously, it's not like he hadn't played 3 years of receiver here, so he knows what it's a pretty nice guy to have as a 7th or 8th guy if you had to have it. And you got Chase Bird and Fulgham and Clay and Clark Sanderson, and I got a good group of depth guys that give you some functional dudes as well. And Juju's just getting here. I hadn't been able to be out on the field with him, so I don't really know anything about him at this point. But it's a good group.
Coach, I remember 2 summers ago you were talking about going on the African safari. Last summer you knocked a couple states off your list with the in-laws. Any plans this summer? Did you do anything, take fun trips or things of that nature?
Not really. We just went down to the beach in Florida and hung out at the lake here in Kiwi, and that's about it. Played some golf and just hung out. That's about it.
Coach, your old quarterback Trevor Lawrence hopped on a podcast a couple days back, and you were a pretty hot topic. And one of the things that he said was you had the ability to make the locker room believe that they suck regardless of who was playing as a motivational tool. Could you speak a little bit
What
on that?
podcast is this?
It was,
Trevor has a podcast?
He was on Pardon My Take with Barstool Sports.
Oh, okay.
You came up a lot if you want to tune in.
All right. Yeah, I missed that. I've been busy. What did he say?
He said that you were the best motivator he had ever been around, and regardless of who had believed in you, you were able to make the locker room believe that they suck and that nobody believed in them. And I figured with the expectation comments earlier that you might have to do that again this year with some lofty expectations. So
okay.
can you talk a little about motivation and how you try and get the most out of a group from that perspective?
Yeah. So I got to humble these guys a little bit. Is that what you're saying? All right. So do I need to pull that up? We can get that for the team meeting here at 3:30. I'll just let Trevor do it. Y'all suck. Somebody send me the link to that so I can give him a shout out. Oh man, I love Trevor. Love Trevor.
14 playoff and expanded to 12, and it seems like they can't seem to decide on what they want to do with certain conferences that won't guarantee bids. What's your stance on where the playoff is right now, and does it need to expand again? Do they need to reseed come playoff time? Where do you stand
I
on this?
could care less. I just stand at the Clemson podium. That's where I stand, and I'm just focused on the Tigers. I know everybody wants some kind of clickbait comment or anything. I could care less. I mean, seriously, and I really don't mean that disrespectful. I'm just talking like, man, because none of that's going to help us beat LSU. Like, I just need to, we got one season.